Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and I'm along with,
Tyler from On the Spot Sports.
in today's episode, it is episode 53. Wow, 53. I don't think we've done a solo or like just us two episode to like episode 40. So it's been like 13 episodes with guests on. So it's nice to just be us two for this episode, but we always love our guests to come on. But we'll do what we have to do. So Tyler, how are you?
I'm doing all right, man. Doing better in this quarantine stuff. And I got to say, it does feel a little weird not having a guest on, not seeing like the other person on the screen. I'm kind of like, wait, this is kind of interesting. So,
Yeah.
um, doing all right, obviously. Uh, this quarantine, like I said, it's brought a whole new level out of not just me, but everyone else. But I think we're still going through a tough time not seeing everyone that we would normally do and not being able to do everything we want. But I feel like right now we're sort of on a track where we might have some more, I guess, freedom, because I think I heard, isn't it June 1st, it's about, I think, 10 people you can do gatherings now or
May
something like that.
29th.
May 29th. Okay, so we're getting closer. It's different.
Yeah.
Certainly. I'm doing all right. The weather is beautiful. I've been outside doing a lot of tennis, and me and my brother got a basketball hoop for our house, so we've been outside playing basketball. It's going good. I feel like summer's in full swing, and summer doesn't even start for another month yet, so it's going good.
Exactly. Yeah. So Illinois reopens May 29th, so it'll be good to finally get out and start at least seeing some of your friends, just like 10 people and below, like you said. So it'll definitely be a lot better than it is right now, but we're just making the most of it. Running, working out. I actually got outside and went to my old high school, so parking lot, got a puck shot on me, so that was pretty
I
fun.
saw that. I saw that on your Snap story.
And the like 90-degree heat that we have right now, but and I was wearing all black as well, so that was
Oh, dude.
that was definitely I was burning to say the least.
Yeah, I will say, the whole thing with May 29th, I will say I'm glad that there's going to be some sort of, like, I guess, reopening, but I really just don't want to see these cases shoot up. Like, we've already seen,
Yeah,
I think it's mainly Florida and Georgia have reopened up within the last month, and the number of cases that have gone up in those two states has skyrocketed, and deaths are going up as well. So that's the one thing that I don't want to see, is when you start to kind of regulate stuff again, you got to always be careful, because, I mean, there's people dying. Like, this is still happening. Like, this is not over. So I think it's just not fully reopening, but taking every necessary precautionary to avoid these kind of disasters. It's very unfortunate, because this disease is wiping out so many people, and it's so unfortunate, but it's
yeah.
it's
We
a shame.
still gotta be safe, social distance, like 6 feet apart. But but one day soon we'll be able to like get like somewhat back to normal. So that'll at least be good. But yeah, just take the regulation seriously, especially with the reopenings, because let's be honest, you won't see me in a restaurant for a few months after this, after the
Oh,
state
no.
reopens.
Definitely, definitely. I will tell you, there is one thing that I will not hesitate one bit on. If the regulations start opening up, I'm going and getting a haircut. I don't even care what anyone says. It's been 2 long months since I've cut whatever's on top of my head right now. I want to get back to my normal style. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to get a haircut, do whatever the regulations say. That's the thing I'm most kind of excited for. So everything
Yeah,
else, though, like I said, you're right. I think the whole restaurant thing, very, very kind of cautious. The whole fast food gig is going good right now. But yeah, for me, number one place is I gotta get that haircut, man. It's just, I know, looking at you, you're probably like, shut up, man. Your hair is so short. But for me, what I like to style it, this is pretty long. It's been 2 long months.
yeah, it's been a while, but lucky for you, the barbershops will be open again. So You get that fresh cut.
Fresh cut, yep. Hoping that could happen soon.
Yeah, and we'll be able to go outside and we could do some live episodes in like a few weeks as well. So that'll definitely be that'll definitely be fun.
Looking forward to that, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So like you said, it's been really nice out lately. It's been like high 80s, like 85, 86, 87. So it's summer's in full swing, so I can't complain about that. And with all the reopenings, and nothing can go not everything's going right so far, but you still gotta obviously, like we said, take everything seriously. And even if we're reopening, like you said, like Florida, Georgia, the cases are still going up, so we just gotta still do pretty much what we're doing right now, except that you could have 10 people or less. But we just gotta see how that goes from there, and then go into the next phase sometime soon.
Yep. It's just a day-by-day process at this point.
Yeah, and for sure. So we got some pretty exciting news lately within the sports industry. The NBA, NHL, and MLB is all planning on coming back. Hopefully by middle of June or middle of July, my bad. And we'll definitely be talking about that in a little bit, and I can't wait. It's so exciting.
Yeah, I mean, if all this goes through, I'm still under the influence right now that it might not happen. I'm waiting for an official word that says, okay, here's the date, here's the location. We are playing right now. I know you're going to get into the whole, I guess, rules thing for all those sports, because that's all they have right now. Is this is like if we resume, this is what we're going to do.
If.
Yeah, this is right now. If there is no, we are playing, starting, blah 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 blah. That's what I'm hoping for. But I agree with you. Whatever happens, sports are back.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So we got to hope right now. But a lot of like you said, a lot of interesting news buzz surrounding all that good stuff. So
yeah, so it's a plan. So it's definitely not official, but we could see that all the seasons will be canceled. But as of right now, they're planning on all those sports are planning on having a season, having a return to play date, and let's get into some of those regulations.
Sure, let's do it.
All right, so let's go with NBA first. So the NBA, according to ESPN and many other sources, the NBA is expected to start in late July at the Disney's ESPN Wide World of Sports complex in Orlando, Florida. So in Disney World. So how are you feeling about that, Tyler?
I'm down with it, honestly. You know, what the NBA decides to do regarding who plays, what the whole thing is, that is going to be a little more interesting, because obviously the NBA draft is usually around late June, and they already have delayed that until further notice. NBA, they got about less than a quarter left of the season, so I wouldn't be shocked if they decide to go, hey, maybe all 8 teams in each conference start a new playoff, or do something along with what the NHL is going to be doing. We're going to be talking about that in a little bit. Maybe add some extra teams, maybe add some new kicks to this playoff thing, or maybe finish off the regular season. I heard Damian Lillard talk about the other day, from a standout guard from the Portland Trailblazers. I heard Lillard speak out yesterday and said, if we don't have a chance to make the playoffs, if this whole thing is not going to give our team a chance to make the playoffs, I'm not going to play. And so you can see that there's desire across all these teams and players. There's no doubt. But there's an even bigger desire to fight for that main goal. And even despite, trying to salvage whatever you have left of the season, they're still that goal. Like, I believe Portland is currently surprisingly out of the playoff picture right now after a pretty good season the last couple of years. They're out of the playoff picture. So you could obviously tell Damian Lillard is edging to get back out there, not just to play basketball, but to possibly lead his team to a playoff berth. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if they go right into the playoffs or try to do some little thing where they maybe do a couple regular season games or finish off the regular season. It really just depends on what their plan is to start the 2020-2021 season with the NBA draft and what their plan is for the playoffs. But I'm all for it, I guess, whatever they have. Nothing's really finalized yet, but I like how they have a location down there in Orlando. And I guess it's safe to say Florida, hey, why not? Because, they're one of those states that's been a little bit more, I guess, open and allowing certain stuff to happen right now. So I'm for it. I'm for it.
Yeah, you hit that on the head. You hit the nail on the head right there. Like you said, we've heard reports that have said that there's gonna be a finish off the regular season and then go right into playoffs. But we've also heard some other sources that have said skip the rest of the regular season, go dive straight into the playoffs. So that'll definitely be interesting to see what they come up with. But in my personal opinion, I believe they should just go into playoffs. It's already going to be, early July, late July, somewhere around there. And you also have to focus on when you want the next season to start, so 2020, 2021. So when do you want that season to start? Because same thing about the NHL, like we're going to talk about later. This should be the off season already if this didn't happen. So you're going to go into a lot of the off season months. And then how many more months are you going to take to finish out the playoffs? And then how long's the off season going to be? Because they both leagues want to have a normal schedule and a season next year, but that'll definitely depend on what they do this upcoming summer with the return to play.
Yeah, and I like how you mentioned if they happen to resume the season in July, it would be the off season. Yeah, you are right. And depending on what they do for the playoffs, the typical NBA playoffs with the 8 teams, best of 7 knockout series, 8 seeds, that usually lasts about 2 months, like starting with the first round and leading.
You're looking at like September.
Yeah, that'd be almost about 2 months. So you're looking at possibly a mid to late September end to the season, depending on, like I said, what happens for the playoffs. You still got the NBA draft, which is date TBD. You cannot do that until the playoffs are finalized because obviously you have to let the playoffs sort itself out to sort picks 15 through 30 and in the second round as well. And then you got training camp and all the other stuff too. So it's a big process. So yeah. There's a lot of steps they have to take here about, where should we start? When should we start? What should we do about all these other stuff leading into next season to start next season? It's very tough.
Yeah, it's tough for sure. What are your thoughts about the supposed 1 through 16 seeding and like how like they're gonna scratch like all the conferences out and just seed them 1 through 16 without like any consideration for how they did in the other conferences? Like, how do you feel about that?
I'll be honest with you. I'll be pretty straight up. I don't like it. I think they should really stick to the conferences here. I don't want to get too much into it because I know hockey's your big thing, but hockey, they're sticking to their conferences. Obviously, we'll get a little bit into that later, but I think they should somewhat stick to their already original format with, we got the Western Conference, we got the Eastern Conference. I think just mixing everyone up is just going to cause more confusion. Like, yeah. You're coming back from a huge pandemic. Everything's already kind of confusing as it is. Why confuse it more, Yeah. You could just take the original 8 teams that were 1 through 8 in both East and West and put them together how you normally would. I don't like their whole reseeding thing because a lot of these anticipated matchups that we were possibly looking at for a finals matchup. We got Bucks Lakers, Bucks Clippers. Throw the Celtics in there maybe as well. That could not happen. And instead, we could see like a Lakers Clippers final, which I guess that sounds cool, but you kind of want both conferences representing each other in the finals. So
Yeah.
I honestly, as much as I applaud them for trying to get creative, I like the whole like conference thing better.
Yeah, I'm just like you. I like how like the traditional conference seedings are like 1 through 8, and then like 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And they should honestly just keep to that, because like 1 through 16, that's gonna complicate a lot of stuff. And like you said, you want both conferences to be represented throughout or at the finals. So obviously it'll be really cool to see a Clippers Lakers final, but it'd make more sense to just do like a West and then an East conference team like usual.
Yeah, it'd be cool for the city of Los Angeles, but not really cool for anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, with the location in Orlando at the ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex, says games, practices, housing will be on the ESPN campus, and no one from the outer public will be able to be there because for obvious reasons. So the complex contains 3 arenas and hotels for the players, transportation for the players. Like, it's pretty much like just it's them there and like some team personnel. So there shouldn't be that too much work to worry about like getting the COVID, especially since there's not a lot of people going to be there. But anything could happen. So, but I think that's the best choice, the best option for them for sure. And like I said, still a possibility of finishing some games the regular season, but they'll most likely dive into playoffs. There could be a traditional set of 4 7-game series, or the league could use a playoffs plus format, which is like an expanded playoff where it could be like the NHL is doing, like a play-in tournament round robin seeding thing, or like a group stage for like the opening round of the playoffs. There's been no official return date as of right now to resume play, though. I've heard that a lot of teams have been going to their practice facilities in recent weeks, but I don't know for sure, but it's been reported that they have been. So at least things are getting like somewhat in shape, and like somewhat like the NBA is doing a pretty good job, I think, of just wanting to finish out the season. And yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to do the best they can. And, with the whole thing with a lot of these sports, their practice facilities and their training facilities reopening back up, it's tough, because obviously each team wants to get the work in, but under the necessary state protocols, nobody wants to get this virus. The whole reason why this whole thing started, every sport obviously had to take precaution, but with that whole thing with the Jazz and the Thunder game abruptly ending with I believe was it Rudy Gobert was the first
Rudy
one to have the
Gobert.
coronavirus? Yeah, Rudy Gobert. You just never know. And even when you think it might be getting better, it might not be, because like I said, I'll mention again, we heard Florida and Georgia reopening their states up and just everything out, free for all, now go back to your normal life. That's not the way to go. Like, there was more cases reported and whatnot, so you have to be really, really careful. Like, yeah, I'm for them kind of reopening their facilities and whatnot, because obviously you guys want to do the necessary work to get your stuff back together for the season, but you want to do it at all costs where there are no more coronavirus cases for not just everyone who works for the franchise, but for the rest of the public.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just for the safety of like everyone, the players, personnel, staff, officials, like everyone that's going to be involved in all of this. consideration, I guess you could call it.
Right. Yeah.
And it's the same thing for like Illinois. Like cases go up and down, so like you never know what the day could bring. So everything's technically day to day, and until we get to that point where they want to start the season, it's probably going to change daily.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Is there anything else that I did not cover about the NBA's return to play 2020 season?
No, I think you got everything.
So let's move on to some baseball.
Let's do it.
So like the NBA, the MLB is planning for an early to mid July start, which is pretty much all the sports that are coming back are like early to mid July. MLB is planning to have an 82 game season and a universal DH. So I believe that means like they'll just have a DH for the spot of the pitcher. Like doesn't matter if you're on the NL AL side, or it'll just be universal like everywhere. There's a 30-man active roster with a 20-player taxi squad. So that's definitely interesting. Tyler, do you want to touch on that for a bit?
Yeah, obviously a lot of interesting stuff going on there. The big thing is the 82 game regular season. So obviously, I think a lot of us kind of knew, but didn't really figure or think much of it at the time. 82 game regular season is huge because we all know baseball as being that sport that is very long in terms of how long the games last and how long the season lasts. So hearing that it's like literally cut in half, technically
Literally.
81, I believe, is cutting in half. So technically not exactly, but essentially,
Yeah.
It's very interesting here. But at the same time, it's unfortunate because a lot of these, like I said, a lot of these leagues are losing. I think I heard the MLB, if they do not have a season like at all, they could lose up to $3.4 billion.
Wow.
So again, they got to do what they got to do. I mean, it's unfortunate that they can't play every game, but they might lose that much money, and that's not
crazy.
good for the sport. Yeah, like talk about trying to salvage anything out of an unfortunate circumstance. I mean, they will still be losing a lot of money for not playing a lot of games and not having a lot of fans in attendance right now. But to kind of cut that in half and try to, like I said, salvage anything, I guess it's a win, you know? Like I said, it's unfortunate. And I think we've talked about this on a previous episode. Did you mention the division realignments for this?
Not yet, but you can go ahead and do it.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, the whole thing with the division realignments, that's a part of it is each division, or I'm sorry, each conference has 3 divisions, 5 teams per division, the West, the Central, and the East. Now, what they would do for that is make 3 divisions. All the teams in the Western divisions combine and merge into one division. All the teams in the Central and the East do the same thing, merge into one division. So there's 1 West, 1 Central, and 1 East.
A lot of rivalry games going to happen then.
And honestly, it's not a bad idea. It'll be different, but it's not a bad idea at all. It honestly avoids a lot more exposure for these other teams. Like if you're, let's say, like the Texas Rangers and you're traveling out to play the Los Angeles Dodgers, like you don't know what kind of stuff is out there, you know? If you just stay kind of west, it's more close compared to like, you know, traveling all this kind of way. It's a lot of time saved up for these kind of guys. I know it's very, very different, all the stuff that we're kind of getting into right now, but it's just different for sure.
Yeah, those conferences, or the 10-team conferences, that's definitely gonna be a lot of fun, especially see all these rivalry games going on, like Yankees, Red Sox, Cubs, Sox.
Yeah.
Who on the west side would be a good rivalry?
Well, you got, I think I'm going to look outside the box here. You obviously got the classic one. You got the Dodgers and the Giants. But I'm looking at more of like you kind of intertwine those two Western divisions. You got the Giants and the A's is a pretty good one. Think back in I believe it was either 89 or 90, that World Series where it was the Giants and the A's, San Francisco and Oakland. You had the earthquake game. So that'd be a really interesting one to kind of rejuvenate. That's a good one. Angels and Dodgers battle for LA. That's pretty interesting as well. I don't know. That whole West is pretty organized. Like it's all pretty much like right there. Like got like California, Arizona, Colorado. That's pretty much it right there. So I think those are the two main ones that I'll be looking at is the Giants and the A's back to that earthquake World Series. And then you got the Dodgers and the Angels.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be nice rejuvenating those rivalries. Maybe we'll get some bench clears. Probably not for the circumstances, but
the Dodgers and the Angels would be a really good series.
It would be.
Angels stacked up. They didn't get that pitcher they were hoping for, but they got Anthony Rendon. Dodgers got a pretty surprise Mookie Betts and David Price trade.
True.
So that'll be a fun series to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
If that happens, by the way. I would say it probably would, but.
Yeah. And I honestly like this, like how the MLB is going right now with like the 82-game season, universal DH, like 81's half the season, so but 82, why not play another game? It'll just be fun.
Yeah, and 82 is the normal amount for the NBA and NHL. So you look at these guys, you're like, man, 47 and 35, like, man, I'm used to seeing like an NBA team with that kind of record. Yeah, obviously it's all they got the ties too, but I meant to ask you when you were bringing up this whole rules thing, do you like the universal DH? Are you that guy that's kind of like stuck with it now, like fine, NL pitchers bat, AL pitchers don't, or are you a guy that's like, I want all pitchers to bat, or I want a DH in both series?
I honestly think it'd be cool to see all pitchers bat. Like, even though like they're not like obviously like that like strong of a hitter. Like I'm sure there's pitchers out there, but like overall it's like they're not usually hitters, but just to move around batters. I enjoyed that when I see pitchers batting, but I think it'd be really cool to see all pitchers bat. But during like this circumstance with COVID and everything, I think it's better to do the universal DH because like it's a lot more games or in a short span of time. Holy crap, I can't talk. But yeah, I really like the universal DH for this like for COVID, obviously, because like I said, all the games that in like short span of time, and pitchers should rest. They should use that time to rest and don't have to worry about going up to the batter's box and facing a 90-mile-per-hour pitch, 100-mile-per-hour pitch. Just focus on doing your job, which is just pitching. Are you liking this idea?
I don't mind it at all, honestly. I feel like with that whole thing, that's an interesting topic that I've heard a lot of people talk about. For me personally, with the whole like should DHs be a thing or should pitchers be a batter thing, I look at it from both ways. I feel like no, pitchers shouldn't bat because they have a tough task already ahead of them, and that's obviously pitch at a very high level. You talking about mostly eight, some pitches obviously not, but you're talking about at a most alarming rate of 85 miles an hour pitch, and you throw how many pitches in a game? About somewhere within between 50 and 80, maybe sometimes more. So that's a tough task. Your arm's got to be sore as hell by the time you're done with that. Obviously you're not pitching every week, but still, it's a tough task. But I also could see it as more of like a thing where, why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't they bat? Because they're part of the field too. But it's tough. But I think I'll agree with you in this case. I'd say just use the DH because everyone's in a tough situation right now as it is. So just let the DHs go at it. But it's tough. Like I want to see pitchers bat because yeah, they're just as valuable in the field as anyone else. But at the same time, maybe not because they already have a tougher task at hand. That's throwing at a very high level for a certain amount of time during the game.
Yeah, exactly. I 100% agree with you there. How do you think the double headers are going to go this year? Because I'm sure there's going to be quite a few double headers, a lot more than normal. So like, how do you think the players would react to that? And like, how do you think it'll be overall?
I think you're right when you use the term a lot more than normal. Anything to get this season underway and get these games knocked out of the park, no pun intended. Anything to be honest, you get the joke. Anything to be honest. And especially like you said, the equivalent of having like these all Western Division, all Central Division, all Eastern Division, it'll be so much more easier to have these guys not too far apart to play, double headers. Like you said, if you're like the Dodgers and the Angels, I don't know exactly how far those two stadiums are apart, but if you get every time it's like a double header, like we got like maybe two today at Dodger Stadium, 2 in Anaheim, it's a lot more convenient if these teams are so much more closer apart. And like I said, just like knocking games out, like 1, 2, 3 during this tough time, sort of as like a catch-up thing. But I think you're right when you use the term a lot more than usual, like especially with these division realignments.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, 100%. I don't want to repeat like everything that you just said, but I think that it'll definitely be a lot better in the terms of how close these teams will be, and it'll definitely like you could probably go like every other day, for like maybe like a 3-game series. Just go like Monday, Wednesday doubleheader, and just have that Tuesday game be just a single. But I like the idea of more doubleheaders, more baseball to watch as well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, so some more regulations for the MLB. There's going to be 14 teams in the postseason with games played in the home cities in October. So just like pretty much just like normal postseason baseball, and it's supposed to be in October, which is definitely going to be interesting because like how much they want to play 82 games from July to like September, and then just the regular start of playoffs is in October. So I do like that, but it's going to be a lot for the players, especially playing so much and then going in a postseason baseball at the same time they would in a normal regular season.
You said 14 teams in the playoff? So this rule change was effective this year, right, with the whole wild card teams? Yeah. This wasn't play this year. That'll be interesting. A little more baseball. Maybe we'll see, especially with the season starting late, whenever they finish. I certainly think we'll get a good amount of November baseball. And now, like you said, even with this expanded playoffs, if the season's even normal, will the playoffs start in early September or start in October like normal? But now with the season backed up, we're totally going to get some November baseball. So it'll be interesting. MLB,
it'll be fun.
I think they're a little bit more, I guess, they have time to kind of plan that stuff out. They got a couple more months to just ease into their next season, I guess, and get everything back to normal. But
I definitely want to see some November baseball. That'd be really cool. I'd love to see December baseball as well, but we all know that probably won't happen.
That'll be way too cold for some of these guys, like us Chicago boys. I would not want to go to a game in below 32-degree freezing weather. And
it's also you could also get injured in that weather, so scratch that idea.
Yeah, November would be cold, but I still feel like it'd be a little more like fall weather compared to like freezing weather.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, some other things that MLB says 50-50 revenue split for players and owners. And then what are your thoughts on like the MLB trying to cut down the players' pay?
Again, it's another 50-50 way street. I could see it because you got to take
They're
into
losing
effect
so much money as well.
they're losing so much money. All the stadiums and their workers obviously are not getting paid during all this. So obviously they've had to find a way to kind of pay them during this time. It's tough because you already have top players. You know, key example would be Rays pitcher Blake Snell has already verbally came out and said that he is not playing in the MLB I think it's official now, if they decide to do this pay cut thing. So I feel like it's very tough for them to kind of like go about this, but it's what you have to do because, I mean, during this whole thing, everyone's money short right now, but you're setting yourself up for some of these players. Like I said, Blake Snell, one of the top pitchers in the league, is a prime example. You're setting yourself up here for some of these guys being like, nope, I don't want to play. If I can't make the top dollar money that I normally make, then why bother? It's like I said, all this stuff, it's very unfortunate, these circumstances, but it's really what you got to do at this point.
Yeah, I don't agree with the MLB trying to cut the player's salary, but I do get why they're doing it, especially since there's going to be no fans in the stadium. They're not paying the staff at this time, the employees. So it's like the MLB's taking a toll everywhere in that standpoint. But I still don't think they should cut some of the players' salary because they are risking themselves and their family to play. And if they don't feel comfortable, then what's the point of playing still? And they have stuff to pay for as well, like cars, houses, family. So it's definitely an interesting move by the MLB.
Right. It's tough, but unfortunately, it's kind of like a lose-lose. Like we kind of have to do this no matter what the circumstances are.
Yeah, exactly. Is there anything else that I did not hit that you wanted to cover?
No, I think you got everything again.
So let's go to our final sport that's planning on resuming. All right, so we got the NHL. So they are also planning for early to mid or the NHL is most likely going to start late July because they're doing a thing where they have 4 different phases, and I'll describe the phases right now. They have phase 1, which is the pause and self-quarantine, which they did on March 12th after the NBA canceled their or suspended their season. So did the NHL. So with that time of March 12th, the regular season just ended. There's not going to be any more regular season games played, and the top 12 teams from each conference will enter the 24-team playoff format with positioning based on how the point percentage is for them. So phase 2, which they are about to be in currently, is non-contact skating for players in small groups at team facilities, which is supposed to happen early June, so within the next week or so. So that pretty much just means that they'll be able to get into probably small groups of like 10 or less and just work out at like team facilities, skate, and just like do like a smaller form of training camp just in like a smaller group. And then phase 3 will be formal training camps where it's not supposed to start till the first half of July, no earlier than the first half of July. So that's when like the full on like training camps are supposed to start, which I believe will take like 2 weeks for players to actually get in like physical and game ready shape. And then phase 4 is what we all want, soon is the 2014 playoff, including the seeding games, playing rounds, round robins, all that. And that is still to be determined, and which it looks like as of right now, it'll be late July by that point. So there's a lot of phases. So what are you feeling about that, Tyler?
Well, I'll tell you one thing right now. All the sports we talked about, it's been like we have a plan, but it's not like official yet. This is more than a plan, and this is already official. Like this was announced today. Like if
It was
we
announced like what, like 10 hours ago?
2-3 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a situation where if we go back, this is what's happening. Not compared to the other sports, where if we go back, this may be the plan. This is the plan when we go back. And I really applaud the NHL for, sticking or putting the foot down and getting this stuff ready. Incredible job by them. Hockey, obviously, you know from lots and lots of experience, is a sport where there is lots of physical contact. During this time where we were highly regarded not to use lots of physical contact, among other stuff as well. Incredible. I mean, I didn't really think that the NHL would be able to come up with something quite like this, but they did a hell of a job creating whatever this is. And I don't mean to use whatever as a bad way, but it's a lot. It's crazy what they've come up with. And like I said, announced today, this is the plan. They're ahead of themselves right now, and like I said, I applaud them for that, because they're in kind of the same boat in the NBA right now. As their seasons are about even with each other. The NHL, I think, ends a little bit quicker than the NBA, but their season starts October, just like the NBA, and they already have something in place where, like, this is what we're doing when we come back. So really, really good job at the NHL. I'm interested to see how this is going to pan out, because like you said, obviously, you know from experience, lots and lots of contact in the sport of hockey, but just overall, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Just overall, I guess, people are around people constantly, being that, like, you know, you got to open this stuff up kind of regularly.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's interesting. I'm anxious to see where this is going to go. Big
Yeah.
playoff.
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting. It's a lot to take in as well. I was just reading the phase and I was like, holy crap, there's a lot. And but I like the structure here. Like they have a set plan. They're like this, and like different phases, like we're currently in for the state of Illinois, and like all the other countries. Like we're about to be in phase 3, so it's like there's a plan going, and the NHL certainly has done something just like that with the phases. So it's I like it. I like where the NHL is going with this, and if I had to guess, the NHL will definitely be, I think, one of the, if not the first, the second team or the second league to officially start their season if there's a season.
Yeah, you know, the chances of them resuming are obviously very, very high now than they were earlier, given that they have a huge comeback plan intact. So I think there's a really good chance that you're seeing hockey in the near future. You got, like, the commissioner came out with this big plan today, so it's looking like it could be official. Like you said, once you're given the okay of, all right, you can go back.
Yeah, exactly. Applaud to the NHL right there. And so the NHL also has some details on like the hub cities, so like where they're gonna host the games. So some of these host cities could be Chicago, Columbus, Dallas, Edmonton, Vegas, LA, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Toronto, Vancouver, and each conference is assigned a hub city with secure hotels, arena, practice facilities, and transportation. So they have like a set plan, like a very good set plan right now. And
Yeah, Oh no, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So teams will also be limited to 50 personnel in the wherever they're going to play, where only a small number of the staff is permitted to enter the event arena or area. So it's like they're going to keep that number low and like have like different personnel travel and just not like bring that many people that could be exposed to all this. And then the timing and sites are obviously to be determined, and it just depends on like the COVID-19, like the government regulations and how each state decides to handle these situations.
Yeah, it sounds kind of tough on these players because you're only limited to your hotels and whatnot. But I'm sure these guys, their main focus is just, man, we're back on the ice. It's a good feeling.
They want to determine a Stanley Cup winner.
I was thinking about it earlier though. Before, I don't know if you're going to go into the bracket or not. There's a part of me that wants to pick like a top team that might win this, but man, I don't know. I got a feeling that there's going to be some team that comes out of nowhere, seeded from like 9 to 12. Oh man, could you imagine if that happened? I just feel like there's going to be a team that's seeded like 9 through 12 that's either going to get to the Stanley Cup final, like go far in the playoffs, or win the damn thing. Like,
yeah.
I could just see it. Like when you extend this playoffs, you're waiting for something crazy to happen. And I feel like with these teams 9 for 12, they got to be licking their chops.
It's like a March Madness type thing.
Exactly. But with March Madness, you even kind of know, like, oh, we're in. Some of these other guys, you're like, oh, my God, like, now, like, we're in. Like, these teams 9 through 12 got to be licking their chops. Like, ooh, man, we didn't even taste the playoffs, but now here we are. We are desperate. So that's my thing. Don't be surprised if there's a team like 9 through 12 that could be like, here we are, baby. We're coming to hoist the cup.
Exactly. And I love that because we do not know what's going to happen for the playoffs. Like, just like March Madness, like any team could win. Like, we've seen that in the past years for March Madness, but like it's coming to life for the NHL right now.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, let's talk about the Hawks. Like, they're finally a playoff team after a few years of not making the playoffs, and it took a pandemic to bring us to the playoffs.
It's sad that you have to mention that because technically they're not a playoff team, but now they are.
For this qualification, they are.
Yeah, and I honestly thought they weren't even going to be in it because they were having a down year. But I was like, are you kidding me? They're actually 12th. Like, oh my God, they're going to be like the worst point team in the Western Conference. I'm sorry. It's crazy. Hopefully, like I said, I'm not trying to be a little bit biased here, but hopefully we could see Patrick Kane put some Chicago Magic back on that ice. Hopefully we can see them.
Hopefully, which Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, when it comes to playoff time, they're a whole different breed. Like, I can't wait for that to see that happen again because it'll like playoff Kaner, Toews, Seabrook, Keith, like Crawford, even sometimes they show up in the playoffs.
Yeah, there's a reason why they won 3 cups in, I believe it was 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, 5. So Oilers, Blackhawks. How do you think that round's gonna go?
Very interesting. Obviously you got a lot of superstars on both teams. You got obviously Connor McDavid, one of the young studs in the league. You mentioned earlier, Leon Draisaitl, yeah, really really good player. So Edmonton, obviously, that's one that I kind of was a little surprised at. Edmonton, I think it was McDavid's either rookie or second season. They made the playoffs. They were really, really good. But ever since then, they've been like, where have they been? There's other teams that have taken them up. But this year, they're back on the rise. They're back in the playoffs. They were actually one of the playoff teams before this all happened. That's why they're the 5th seed. I'm really anxious to see how this is going to happen. And obviously, for the Blackhawks side, they just traded away Robin Leonard. Pretty disappointing trade. So with Corey Crawford having the health issues that he's had, I think the goaltending is going to be the one really, really big question mark for the Blackhawks in that series.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think this game alone, this series will go to, since they're playing best of 5 for this round, I definitely think it'll go to 5 games for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get into like how the like format's going to be. So for the format, each conference is determined by the points percentage. There's going to be a round robin play for the top 4 teams, and then to play for like seeding for like first seed, second seed, third seed, fourth seed. So that round robin will definitely be interesting, but like nothing is determined right now. Like 1, 2, 3, 4 could definitely change within the round robin.
Yeah, you know what? Like you got Boston and Tampa Bay being two of the best teams over there. They could easily lay an egg in that round robin and be like the 3rd and 4th seed.
Exactly.
It really, really just depends on, like you said, who shines off the rust a little easier than the others.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be fun to watch those. It's literally gonna be hockey like every single day. When / if this comes back.
When that happens, Jack's eyes go to the permanent heart eye emojis.
Exactly. Every day, my eyes will be stuck to the TV. So yeah, then the qualifying round, which is the remaining 8 teams, play a best of 5 series to advance to the first round, and then first and second round, the format's seeding versus bracket, and the series length is to be determined for the first and second round. Conference finals and Stanley Cup final will definitely be a best of 7 series. So going back to the OG, how it should be. And then the winners from the qualifying round play the top 4 seeds in the first round, and then individual first round series matchups remain to be determined. So right now the Eastern Conference rankings are the Bruins, Lightning, Capitals, Flyers, Penguins, Hurricanes, Islanders, Leafs, Jackets, Panthers, Rangers, and the Canadiens. So then the round robin seeding will be the Bruins, Lightning, Capitals, Flyers, and then the best of 5 series will be the Penguins, Canadiens, and all the other teams. And then right now for the Western Conference, the rankings include the Blues, Avalanche, Knights, Stars, Oilers, Preds, Canucks, Flames, Jets, Wild, Coyotes, and our Blackhawks. And the round robin will be the top 4 teams there. So St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas, and Dallas. And then everyone else plays the best of 5 qualifying round. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, Yeah, for sure. I think the one big takeaway though that I heard, I kind of knew, but I was kind of like, they gotta be in there. San Jose shocks me that they are not on that list.
I know.
What in the world happened to the San Jose Sharks this season?
I guess they didn't have a good year then.
I mean, they got talent up the wazoo on that team.
They do.
There is no reason why they should be a bottom 3 or 4 team in that conference. They should be in the playoffs easily.
Yeah, especially last year, they put up a run. I remember watching that Vegas San Jose series, and when San Jose put up 4 or 5 goals in the 5-minute major penalty for Vegas, that was insane.
Yeah, set up a good Blue Shark series.
It did. So who do you think is going to be in the Stanley Cup for this year?
I may sound pretty original here. In the Eastern Conference, I'm going to go with the Boston Bruins. Despite all the kind of delays we have in this pandemic, Boston has been easily the best team this season. And I expect them to fully come back and go to the Cup. I think David Pastrnak is going to continue his dominating ways and lead this Bruins team all the way to the Stanley Cup. for the Western Conference, I think that is going to be more of the toss-up conference compared to the Eastern Conference. I feel like that's where you're going to see a lot more teams that we don't normally see kind of make a run at the Cup. That's where I think we might see a team like the Blackhawks kind of make a run for it as like a 9 through 12 seed. But unfortunately, I don't think the Hawks are going to make a run for it this year. I think they're like the goaltending is not – it's not where it needs to be right now. Getting rid of Robin Lehner was not the move. There was a team, though, that I randomly kind of thought of that I thought had a really down playoffs. They got swept, and I think they're going to bounce back this year and go to the Stanley Cup final. The Calgary Flames. I think the Calgary Flames, despite getting swept in the first round last year, are going to be the team that finds light in this return and make it. So I got the Boston Bruins and the Calgary Flames in the Stanley Cup final.
Who do you think's winning that?
Calgary's going to win in 7.
I
like I said, I don't even care how wrong I am. That was just my random like prediction. I'm like, I thought of it, and I'm just like, there we go. Calgary over Boston in 7 games.
That I could see that for sure. I definitely see Boston making a run for it for the finals. I could also see Tampa. Unfortunately, they got swept last year after having a fantastic season. But I could definitely see the Lightning go for it too. So for me, my Stanley Cup predictions is Vegas versus the Lightning. Like I think Vegas has a team to go all the way right now and win the Stanley Cup. They have, like, if you look top to bottom, like, they're stacked. Their offense is fantastic. Their defense is solid. Their goaltending, especially with the transaction between with getting Leonard and trading Subban, Marc-Andre Fleury and Robin Lehner, that's a fantastic goaltending duo. And I think that'll definitely get them far because you could trust either one. And Leonard has experience with the New York Islanders last year. So I think Vegas will make a run for it against the Lightning, and then I say Vegas wins in 5.
I gotta ask. I really see your point there about Vegas. That goaltending move, getting 2 starting goalies, was huge, and they already have talent as it is. But I gotta ask, does some of that Vegas kind of, I guess, you're talking about Vegas, does that stem back to your love for the Chicago Wolves? Be honest.
I'm being honest, and it doesn't.
Good.
Like, if you look at, like, the Western Conference, like, I don't think anyone stacks up to Vegas. Like, they, like, maybe St. Louis. I could definitely see St. Louis trying to go back-to-back. But I definitely think Vegas definitely has that edge over all the other teams. And Vegas has gotten better since the trade deadline. So that goes far as well.
Yeah, I could 100% see Vegas in the final. Hey.
So yeah, is there anything else that I didn't cover that you wanted to talk about for the NHL?
No, other than just, I think, obviously compared to all the major sports, they got a plan and they got it set pretty much. Like, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when they will return. This is what's happening. And you know what? I'm really looking forward to it. This is the one sport that we know has a plan, and I'm anxious to see it. I mean, we got 8 additional teams in the playoffs. So the desire, the heart, and the passion that is going to be put in this new playoff for this season, this is going to be fun to watch. And since you know the rules have gotten a little more interesting with the goalie pads, there's, I feel like, a lot more high-scoring games, high-scoring seasons, that is, with this new package. These teams are going to go off. So I'm really looking forward to this new NHL playoff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this too. I'm super excited I'm super excited for like all the leagues that have potential in restarting restarting and going right into the playoffs, like NBA, NHL, MLB. I'm excited for it, and when it gets started, oh baby, we'll be stuck to the TV for a while there.
Yeah, I'll be watching too. There is no doubt about it.
Yeah. So, is there anything else you want to cover before we end this?
No, I think we got everything in terms of all those sports.
Yeah. So we're also rebranding our podcast a little bit. So we're creating a new logo that's in the works right now that I'm making. Uh, we're getting our website done soon, so our website will be available within the next few days to a few weeks, and yeah, this will definitely be something you won't want to miss. We got a lot more content coming, a lot more fantastic guests. All the guests we've had so far have been absolutely fantastic, and it I love those interviews, those like everything, like it's fantastic. So yeah, so follow us on Instagram at On the Spot Sports with underscores between each word. So on underscore the underscore spot underscore sports, On the Spot Sports underscores between each word, and listen to our episodes on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts at On the Spot Sports. And I believe this will do it. So see ya.